Hi, everybody. I'm Cyndy. I don't know how these goes because this is my first one. Yay! So we're gonna have an adventure today, but the amazing Jessie asked me if I could talk about tarot today, which I love tarot. Tarot is near and dear to my heart. It kind of is my soul thing. When I woke up the second time or whatever you call it. And I was like, I need to learn tarot. I need to have a tarot reading, and then I'm going to learn how to read it for myself. And it's just blossomed into this amazing thing, which I just love. So I get to share it with all of you. This is going to be very informal. So if you have questions, please ask, because that makes it more exciting. Again, I've been reading tarot for about 4 years-ish. Something like that, around in there, give or take. And it's been a fun adventure for sure. So I'm going to tell you, I was being very official, and I did my homework to get some research to tell you all the nitty gritty details of tarot and how it began. And then we'll just kind of see how it goes from there. How does that sound?
Yeah.
Perfect. You don't get to choose. Yay. Huzzah! Thanks for coming for the ride. The earliest references to tarot to date are in the 1440s and 1450s. And they all kind of are around in the Italian area, like Venice, Milan, Florence, and that area is kind of where it stems from. And because of the complicated nature of the game by that point, it had started to evolve a little bit, because tarot started as a game. So if you are familiar with tarot, it is split into 2 different parts. This is not part of the history, but it's also exciting to know that there is the minor arcana that is exactly set up like a deck of playing cards. So there's 4 suits, and it goes from ace up to king. And so yeah, that minor arcana is exactly a deck of playing cards, and that's where it stems from. How exciting. And then, but the tarot-ish part is where they gave the major arcana, and that is 22 cards, something like that. And it's the Fool's Journey. But which is kind of fun is in this game they call them trumps. So if you've ever played like the game Spades, whatnot, and having what's trump, instead of calling the suit trump, the major arcana were the trump cards. And they had rankings, and that's exactly the Fool's Journey. So I thought that was kind of a fun. I was like, oh, that's exciting stuff to know. So yeah, they had the standard Italian suits with the values from 1 to 10 with the 4 face cards, and then having the king, queen, knight, and knave. So if you have one of those, sometimes there's the different decks will be called something else. I'm familiar with the word page instead of knave. There's some ones that have princesses, so it's all depending on your author of your tarot deck, which is kind of exciting. So the total of 56 cards alongside with the Fool, that was the wild card, and then the 21 trump cards. So that I thought, I had never heard that before, so I'm like, that's pretty fancy. My family used to play spades and trump all the time. I'm like, haha, tarot. There, it's pretty exciting. So it was a trick taking game. So that was kind of exciting. The rules of the game didn't really change a lot since the 15th century. But the middle of that 15th century, they had the cups, the swords, batons, and coins were the suits. So not our everyday diamonds, hearts, spades, and clubs. I don't think for a while what they are. I'm used to doing tarot. So those symbols still remain, the Italian symbols for that. And there's also a couple of different, the first tarot deck had pip cards, P-I-P. And as you were going through your deck over there, Erica, right? Okay, the pip cards, you may ask what that is. It's exactly, that's what playing cards are. If it's an 8 of hearts, there's 8 hearts. If there's, you have the 9 of clubs, you have 9 clubs on your card. That's called a pip card. Where in the modern day tarot, they have images to them. So that's the big difference between regular playing cards molding into the tarot cards. So kind of fun. Let's see. So yes, present day association of tarot is with fortune telling. And that, bless you, the belief or practice gained currently gained popularity in like the 19th century. And it has nothing to do with the medieval tarot cards. So, because that was a fun card game that they do for royalty. And if they had big parties, that was the big thing with let's play this game. But now it has definitely turned into something a little bit different. Let's see. So also, this is kind of interesting too. The first trump card game originated in Germany in the 1420s. So, and it was called, I did take German class and I am German, but I'm probably going to screw this up. Karnoffel, which the suit of trump cards could only beat cards of a lower rank. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, Karnoffel was developed independently, and all subsequent trump games appeared to have derived solely from tarot. So thought that was kind of fun. There are three, as I put up the number 2, there are three, if you caught that, 3. There are 3 luxury tarot decks that have survived from the mid 15th century. So now you can take a note of where you want to go on vacation so you can see these because they're in some different parts of the world. So one of the decks was made for Filippo Maria Visconti. Sorry if I messed that up, but he is the last Duke of Milan. So that was pretty cool. So prior to his death in 1447, he received a tarot deck. And so there are 69 cards that have survived, and they are preserved at Yale University, the Beneke Rare Book and Manuscript Library. So check any flights to go to see Yale if you go to that, and you can see that tarot deck, which I think would be kind of cool. There's another deck that was more than likely made for Francisco Forza. He was a commander who served in both Milan and Venice, and he married the only child of Filippo Maria Visconti. So he's got the other deck. And so that deck is known as the Visconti Sephora deck, and was made sometime shortly around 1450. And that deck is divided into 2 parts. So you can see 26 of those cards at the Accademia Carrera Bajamo, wherever that is, but we can look that up. And then 35 of the cards are at the Morgan Library and Museum in New York. So that's kind of neat. I don't know which cards are which, but you get to see 26 or 35 of them. And then the third luxury deck is known as the Brambilla deck. That was painted for Visconti before his death, but this one can be found in Milan. So if you want to check out the ones in New York, and then you're like, here we go, I want to see this other one, then you can fly out to Milan. So that was very cool, and that all 3 decks believe that they came from the same painter, Bonifacio Bembo. So that's kind of cool. I think that would be kind of, now I might be on a tarot hunt bucket list to see the original tarot decks and see how they're similar. So yeah, the highest trump of the tarot deck, the Visconti Sephora deck, is it's the Major Arcana. So the highest one is, actually it's not in our order that we usually use, but their order is the Sun card, which is amazing. Spoiler alert, if you don't know what the Sun card is, it's all about rebirth and new beginnings, and it's like a giant hug from the universe. And so that's kind of neat. And so it goes all the way down, and so the Fool is marked as 0, and so that's the lowest ranking trump card. Questions thus far? Anyone? Any questions? If you do have questions, I'm sure Jesse will tell me, and I will get you the answers later.
Quickly, one question.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're saying that you're describing like predecessor to suites, as we know them in flavor. So is there a relationship between each of these that are in there that they like correlate to those?
Yes, because there's people, if they don't, I mean, if you just have regular playing decks, like the bicycle, you just go to Target,
Yeah.
boop, get the bicycle deck. I don't know offhand, but like clubs is one of, the clubs, the hearts, the diamonds and the spades, they all represent one of the tarot suits. Yeah, yep, that's okay. No worries. That's an amazing thing that you can learn at tarot class, but I will give you the short and sweet right now. There's 4 suits, and the pentacle, it's round, and sometimes some decks call them coins, or they might be called, something else, discs, depending on your deck. And all of that is earthly things. So that's why I like the pentacles, like a coin, that's something that you can purchase. So it could be earth, it could be a car, it could be a home, it could be a job, any of that earthly stuff. Because they have the 4 elements too, is what they go with. So pentacles are earth. Then you have the wands, and that's fire. So they could be sticks, or depending on what your tarot deck is. Then you have cups, and cups are water. Obviously, you have a drinking cup. And so that is part of your intuition and emotions. So that's, and then why am I losing? Oh, swords. My least favorite of the suits, because that's air, and it's all about your thoughts, and things that we say, whether we say them or someone else. So yeah. So great question. 5 points to Erica. Good job.
And I'm curious too, pentacles, is there five?
Oh. Yeah, and all the classes, we go over, you can come with any level of knowledge, whether you don't have a tarot deck, or you just bought one, or you've been reading tarot for 30 years. Everyone's welcome, and it's a very supportive class and very inclusive. And so actually, shameless plug, thank you, we're taking a little commercial break. This Friday at 6 o'clock, we have my tarot class that I teach, and I call it Not Your Average Tarot Class, because I am not your average tarot reader. We make it fun and it's exciting, and we're actually covering numerology. So that way you can, within the 4 suits, you can figure out the numbers and what that means. And it helps you when you are doing your own spread to understand, like, oh, this is a 5. It's in the middle of between 1 and 10. It's about change, whether there's conflict, it could be good. So it kind of breaks some of that stuff down for you. And also, shameless plug, I did bring this. Every tarot class, I do make little worksheets. Because when I started doing tarot, I had a book that I just wrote everything down in, because it's really fun to look back. Because sometimes you can see cards that are repetitive that you'll see because it's your energy that you're in. Or if you're like, oh, I don't know, I think I've had this feeling before, but I've seen this card. What is that about? So you can go back in there. But I create these fun little worksheets that tell you about all the different spreads that we do. And I make it fun and exciting. So like this Friday, well, we always start with No Grow Go. So that's like our warm up. That's our exercises to get our connection. And then we have a full moon that's on the 13th, Monday the 13th. So we have a spread that's going to go over the full moon. Then there's also the 1/11, January 11th portal, and the nodes, this north and south nodes are switching. So this is a spread that I learned a little bit about the south and north nodes. So I actually created this spread. How exciting. This one's legit. No one's ever seen it before. So you can find that. Then we're going to do numerology. And then I have one about finding out your own birth tarot card. So, and every class is different. So that's kind of fun and exciting, but we always start with that 3-card spread to kind of get us our tarot mojo. Yeah, we could totally do one at the end. Yeah, that's no problem. Yes, absolutely. Yay. Yes. Then, so tarot as a divination, woohoo, didn't start until about the 18th century, where people began to give meanings to the cards. So that's where it started going from that regular 8 hearts or 8 clubs or whatever it is. And so they brought in the different illustrations for that meaning so you could understand that. And so then it became more of a tool of divination and connecting. You may hear too Rider Waite, and it's Riderwaite, Rider Waite, and those are the last names. So Anthony Edward Waite and Pamela Coleman Smith created the Rider Waite deck in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. This deck is considered the classic. It is the like original of the more modern day tarot. So a lot of the things are based off of it. And so this is, you'll see, if you go online, you'll see Rider Waite. This is the deck that I started with because I just wanted to know the original, the nitty gritties of what the images were. And I love it. So even when I'm using a different deck, I'll refer back to this. That way, I mean, because if you do another shameless plug, I don't get any bonuses from this, but if you want a book to learn about tarot, this one here you can get on Amazon. I don't know if we carry it here in the store or not, but I love this book. It's called Tarot for Beginners, not Tarot for Dummies, because you're not a dummy, you are a beginner. And I use this a lot because it breaks it down and gives you all sorts of information, more information that you really truly need for all of each card. It will tell you symbolism, it will give you astrology and keywords, all that fun stuff. So this is a great, great book that I love. And obviously I carry it with me all the time because it's a great, great tool to have. Let's see. Tarot is the most popular divination tool. Did you know that? I was kind of surprised, but kind of not. I'm like, ooh, that makes sense. So there are hundreds, if not upon thousands of different kinds of tarot decks that are available. And a lot of them are based on pop culture. So we have the traditional Rider Waite. And then there's one, speaking of pop culture, if you ever watch Schitt's Creek, I bought the Shitty Tarot deck, the unofficial Shitty Tarot. And so this was what I was going to show you. Sorry, I get all excited when I talk about tarot. So you can see I have 2 major arcana cards. I have the World card, and then I have the Sun card. And so what's great is if you have a very smart and creative person that makes their tarot decks, that creates these, they still put a lot of this imagery in there. So like, for example, this is Rider Waite's Sun card. And then the unofficial Shitty Tarot, this is a Sun card. So you can see some of the similarities. And if you have your deck out too, you can kind of see some of those similarities of what they're going to have out there. And no matter what tarot deck you have, it's going to have the meat and potatoes is what I like to call it. Every tarot deck should have 78 cards. It's going to have the 56 cards of the minor arcana, and then it's going to have the 22 majors. So it's I like to say it that it's like tater tot hot dish. Everybody has their own recipe for tater tot hot dish, but there is a structure in it that every tater tot hot dish has, whether it's ground beef, it could be chicken or whatever you want it to be. So you have your meat, and then you have your sauce, and then you have vegetables, and then you have your tater tots. I'm very specific. Yours should not have any other vegetable besides green beans, but that's just me. But so that is kind of how tarot is, that there's the meat and bones, the structure of what each card is. And so like this one too, oh, sorry, I'll continue. So I have another one that's called Wild Reflections, and you can see the similarities there between the Sun card. So Rider Waite. Oh, sorry, I picked up the World. Oh my gosh. So this one's the Sun card. You can see similarities there. And then this is the second deck that I ever got, and I freaking love this one. This one's called the Muse deck. And I didn't realize, so after using this deck for like 2.5 years, that there's no guys in this. I'm like, oh, that's why it's called the Muse, because they don't have kings, they're muses. So you can see definitely lots of the same structure in there, but it has their own little nuances. So I'm like, this is the world card, and then the shitty tarot has world, where'd this one? The world, and then this world. So it's also kind of fun when you have different decks, when I read them, it still has the meat and bones, but it has maybe a little bit different. Like maybe you use zesty potatoes. And so when you're reading it, it's a little more zesty depending on the deck that you're using and what space it's in. Does that make sense? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Not clear as mud, but we're good. Maybe a little muddy, but so the other fun thing that I kind of wanted to talk about is that it's beginning to be very popular tarot. It's kind of like becoming more non-taboo, I would say. When I first learned about tarot, it was like, whoo, scary. And so when I do a class or if I do a reading, I always have my little mini commercial beforehand where I will say, there are no scary cards. None at all. If any card, doesn't matter, one of the 84, 78, whatever it is, goes on the table, I'm not gonna like, good luck to you. That's not gonna happen. There are some cards that definitely have some more, as we call it, positive energy or more that are negative, but it's definitely not oh my goodness, you better seek help and shelter and whatever the case is. That's not in tarot at all. That's like a Hollywood thing to make it scary and exciting. Yes, and the other amazing thing about tarot too is that we still have the power of making our own decision. So no matter what goes on the table, we are still in charge. We still get to make our decisions. So if something comes on the table, that is not written in stone, and that's how we have to live our life. You still get to change and make those decisions. So that's kind of fun. Yeah, my other fun caveats are that as being a not your average tarot reader, I don't have a poker face. And so that's great. So I'm not going to lie by any means because there's no reason to, because that's just silly. But when I get real excited, because I get excited about tarot, my Minnesota accent gets real thick or I start to sound like a Muppet. So those are some of my things. So yeah, so that's kind of always fun. And Jesse has experienced in tarot class, if someone flips over a card, I'm like, oh, yes, that's so exciting. I get so excited. So yeah, I just love tarot. Let's see. So there are some denominations or religions or cultures that have that belief that tarot is taboo. And they discourage using tarot because they think it is fortune telling, which that is, they don't believe in. They think that's the wrong thing. But that is, if you go into tarot and you learn about it, that's not really what it is. I mean, some people come in like, oh, I want to see my future, which is kind of, that's why I always say we're kind of cheating because we're seeing what the universe has for us, but we still get to make those choices. So we can see what the energy is. And it's definitely more of a spiritual self-reflection tool. How you're connected, not necessarily you're going to win $5 million tomorrow. If someone does tell you that in tarot, they're probably lying. So I'm just going to let you know that they're probably full of baloney. But hopefully you do win $5 million. I'm cheering you on. But it's interesting that a lot of religions will say it's bad because when you look at, I mean, even these ones, a lot of the images that are on the tarot decks are very symbolic that you'll find in churches. I mean, this one is a cathedral. So you have lots of angels. You might see that there is a card called the devil. You'll see all sorts of different, trying to find some more ones that are examples. That you'll see some of that Christian imagery, especially since it was drawn at the 18th and 19th centuries. So let's see, especially with the Rider-Waite, it kind of differs if you have something different. Like you got the villains you probably aren't gonna have a lot of
That's my son's card.
angels. Ooh, well, that's kind of fun. That's very exciting. Do you want to show our friends? This is, so here, where did I put my sun card? I kind of ran away. But, oh no, here he is. So you can see the villains. I mean, still, he's like very excited. Look at Jack. He's like, woohoo, this is exciting. Whatever, Christmas lights, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yep.
So one of the things too that is great about tarot is it's all in your intention and your interpretation. So similar to all sorts of other divinations, it's how you interpret the cards. I have a good friend of mine that I actually learned tarot from. And if there was a 5 card, which we just said was about change, could be conflict, things like that. When I was learning tarot, he would say 5s are breakdown cards. Terrible. Because he doesn't like change. So to him, 5 was awful. And so then I went to another tarot class somewhere and they're like, so what does 5 mean? And no one said a thing. And I'm like, breakdown cards? And they're like, we know who you learned that from. And I'm like, yes, we all do. So there's another card in here. It's the tarot or the tower. Tower is usually quick, sudden change, and you don't get to choose. It's like the rug being ripped out from underneath you. Sometimes people think that's exciting. They like change. They embrace it. My friend, not so much. So the tower comes out and he's like, oh, panic. You can just see sweat coming down his forehead. You're like, it's going to be okay. I'll just keep breathing. The other amazing thing that I like about tarot, especially that major arcana, it tells a story. And it's all about the fool's journey. And it's the people that the fool meets. And it's situations, big major situations that we have, significant life events. And so when you are in some of those, you can think of the fool's journey. And if you are in a tower moment and you're panicking, then you can go, what comes after the tower? It's the star card. And the star card's all about hope and faith, which is amazing. So that's kind of a fun thing to think about. Excuse me. And then the minor arcana are more of like everyday things. So I like to call the minor arcana just regular text messages, emails. But the major arcana, that's like a caps locks email from the universe, like per my last email. Are you paying attention? That's what some of that is, because they are big. Make sure that you are aware of that. And ultimately, whether you want to use tarot or not, that's your choice. But I will tell you that tarot has totally changed my life. It has helped me connect spiritually to my higher self and to my guides. And a lot of the times when I do tarot, it's not, I need to know, am I going to win $1 million? It's a more of like, I'm a little stuck. What's happening? Like, I need some insight. And so I connect when I start doing a spread. I'll take my tarot cards and I'm like, what is going on? So I'll open. I'm like, okay, guides, higher self, and you can call in whoever you want, like archangels. If you have, I ask my great aunt Gertrude that's passed. So whoever you want, you call them and I'm like, I need your help. Like, I think of them as my team, my A team that's out supporting me. So I call them in. I'm like, I need your help. Can you help me figure out why I'm stuck? Why am I feeling this way? And so then I'll do my little spread and I'll go, oh, so it's kind of, they're helping me because I can't hear them say the things, but they can tell me in the cards, which is kind of cool to think about. Yeah. What else was I going to say? Books, class, tip deck, questions. I know that's a lot of information in a teeny tiny amount of time. Is there something yeah.
These that aren't a sword or cup.
Yeah.
These are called what again?
It's the major arcana. Yep.
And this is the.
And those are the minors.
Minor.
Yeah. Yep. So sometimes you can think of like the fool's journey. And so it's every deck should follow the fool's journey, where it's the fool and then he meets the magician and then he meets the emperors. Nope. He meets the
Priestess.
high priestess, and yeah, so it goes on and on and on. And then the last one is the world card. So it's a whole cycle of where you're at. And it's also fun too, because our lives aren't just one thing. We got family, we got relationships, we got job, we got whatever. So you could be in like 13 different destinations on the Fool's journey, just depending on where it is. You can be in one spot for job, another spot for relationship, another one for friendship, whatever it is. So that's another amazing thing, that you aren't just, it's not carte blanche. Like, here you are here. It's like Candyland. Beep, beep, beep. That you are stuck in the marshmallow swamp. I don't even know if that's a spot, but you know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, okay. So Candyland, you'll see the same people, but you'll move around depending on where you're at.
I do have a question
Yeah.
for you that you referenced right away at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like sort of a reawakening, or
Oh, for me
for you
personally,
personally.
yes.
Is that when you began your journey with tarot, or even before?
I have been labeled the quirky kid. I'm the youngest of 4 kiddos. And I've always been like, she's different. It's not always been the she's different in a good way, but like, ooh, okay, whatever. What, that's Cyndy. She's a little strange. She says weird things, but I can remember things from before I was alive. And so I would say stuff and that would freak my aunts and uncles out. They're like, how do you know Aunt Sue? Like, you weren't even alive. But it's just having that connection. So then, as all of us in our lives, some of that is taken away because they're like, nope, we need to focus on math. Nope, we're going to focus on science. That's crazy. There's no way you'd know about Aunt Sue. So when I said my second awakening or reawakening, that was as an adult. And I was in the hospital, pregnant with my son, my youngest kiddo, with COVID. And so I was very ill, and I'm just laying there, sorry to hear, and just laying there. I'm like, this can't be it. This is not it. There's more to this story. Like, this is ridiculous. And so then different messages would come in. I'm like, okay, my oxygen's great. So I'm not hallucinating that way. Like, so then I'm trying to like realize, what's happening, trying to humanize it. But I'm like, this is different. This is very much different messages that I'm getting. So that was when I got out and I said to a couple of my friends, I'm like, have you been to a psychic? We need to see a medium. I need to learn tarot because I need to get that connection. So me learning tarot really helped me learn more about myself and all of the things. And we always go like this, but it's all encompassing around. So yeah, it's amazing. I love it.
I think that that's partly why I'm here today, is because it's happening too often for me to push it aside anymore, that I have a lot of perceptions where it's not even like major, it's just that, oh, so-and-so's not gonna be able to come to work tonight, so I better be prepared to close the store. So it's sort of like, oh, heads up, this is gonna happen. And then I don't get upset, I'm just calm, I'm like, yeah, that's okay, I already knew.
Yeah.
It's happening more often now where I'm like paying attention a little bit more. That's why I'm just trying to be more open to what it means. I'm a little nervous about some of the other stuff. Like, I've only had maybe 2 really clear instances of clear audience, but like really weird scenarios where I'm just like, I guess I was supposed to pay attention to that voice, but I didn't know where it was coming from and what it actually meant.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here.
Sure.
Try to open myself up to more, which I think this is a harmless way of getting into it, where I don't need to be scared of it.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
You're just cards.
Yeah.
Cards aren't going to attack you. You might get a paper cut. That'd be terrible, right?
Yeah.
But they're not going to come after you or anything at all. They're cards, and they're here to help you. And I love that you said this, because it could be a whole nother metaphysical musings class of the different clairs.
Yeah.
So it's how you connect. And so when you are connecting, the things that it'll be very apparent, the ones that are like your strong suit, where you just kind of know. that type thing. I'm very clairaudient. So when I'm doing tarot, universe is sending me nuggets of knowledge that are songs. So that I'm like, this is the energy of this card. And people are like, oh, like the world card, Freddie Mercury, we are the champions. Like totally that energy. There's another card, three of swords. I always say it's not the prettiest card in the deck, but it has some great meaning. There's a reason it's there. And the song that come up for this one is when I had terrible postpartum depression. And I thought I was cracking up. Like I literally was changing my son's diaper and I'm like, so like, crying, but laughing. I'm like, oh my God, I'm losing it. What is going on? And all of a sudden the song of Ooh Child from the 5 Stair Steps comes hopping in. So that's what I relate, where you just think you're at your bottom and you're like, what is going on? What is happening? And then things are going to get better. It may be rough today, but things are going to get better. The sun's going to come out tomorrow. We're going to learn some things and the load is going to get lighter day a little by little. That's what this card is. So it's kind of fun. And it's what you pick up in the cards too. Each time, depending on where they're sat in a spread, they have different meanings. There's also, other caveat. This is very important. I learned this. So they have the cards that are, this is called upright, where you can see it this way. And then that's reversed, or some people call it something else. Upside down, whatever you want to call it. You do not need to read reversed cards. I was in a tarot group on social media, and they said, if you don't read reverse cards, get out of this group. You're not a real tarot reader. You're not real. I said, that's ridiculous. So for the longest time, I never read the cards reversed. So when you're putting the cards out, it will be upside down and I'd switch it because I want to see them. Because the universe, and if you're connected, you're going to know the energy of that card. So this one's, the world card's like, we are the champions. This is amazing. So if that card's meant to be reversed, when you're reading it, you aren't feeling the we are the champions. You're like, oh, this is tough. I want that feeling, but you're going to read the energy of like, oh yeah, that was going to be reversed. But it's very apparent that it's, you get that feeling. Does that make sense? So it's not saying if you read reverse, you're better than anybody else. You don't get extra bonus points. I would say probably starting out, just for me, I didn't do it because I didn't want to overcomplicate things. So I just wanted to make sure that I knew what the cards meant, and then I could touch into the energy of the cards. So I could tell if it was reversed or not. Yeah, so I love, and if you ever come up with any other questions about tarot, I'm not cutting you off by any means, please feel free to ask. I don't ever say that I am the professional or I know everything about tarot, because there literally, you cannot find out everything about tarot. There are so much stuff. Like if you look at this strength card here, there is so much of the colors. Then there's astrology and there's numerology and this lion and all of these different things, like the death card, which I love this card. But you're like, oh my goodness, there's so much to this illustration to figure out what's going on, and there's so much symbolism. That's one of the things that I love about tarot, because you'll do a reading, all of a sudden something else will pop out. And I'm like, I've had these cards for 3 years and I've never seen that, because that's the time that universe is like, check this out. This part's important right now, which is kind of fun. Yeah. And do you guys want to do a spread? Do you want to try doing a no, grow, go? And if you don't want to, that's fine. I'm not gonna. Okay. No worries.
First.
Sure, we can. I'll demonstrate. And if you want to follow along, you're more than welcome. You can always pause if you need to go run and get it. The magic of technology. I'll use the regular Rider-Waite ones, just so you can see. So this is something that I learned when I was first learning tarot. And I like to call it my exercise to get my connection with my spirit guides and whomever I need information from. Is I do this, and I did this spread for like 1.5 years every day. And Again, don't push yourself. If you don't want to do it every day, that's fine. If you want to do it once a week, once a month, whatever you are called to do, because you want your intention there. You don't want to make it a chore. So I would do this, and it's something the universe wants you to know, something the universe wants you to grow, and then something the universe is saying, hey, let's let go of this. Other caveat of tarot, as I'm not your average tarot reader, you'll be on TikTok or social media and you'll see that. I don't know how they do that. That is magic, smoke and mirrors. I'm not sure, because my fingers are not made to do that. So other people just, wiggle them around. It's whatever you want to do, and you can be consistent about it. That's so you're going to get very consistent readings. The accuracy will be there. But I did this my second day of tarot. My first tarot class, I didn't even bring tarot cards. I just showed up and I didn't know. So I got the stare down. I was like, what? Sorry. So then I came the next class, and then everyone stared at me because they're like, okay, shuffle your cards. And I just went, and people went, ooh. And I was like, what did I do wrong? Did I break the cards? Like, I'm like, I don't know. Is this like super taboo? Am I kicked out of class? And nobody there did it because they all did the. And I'm like, I can't do that. I play cribbage. I play, any other, card game. So this to me is fine. And I do it 3 times every time because that's my way to do it. Connecting. And then they want to be fancy, like those people on social media. This, I just drop clunks of cards. So there's another gal that does readings here, and she's like whipping the cards and the cards fly out, and that's what they read. I'm like, but that's not me. And that's okay if it's not you either. If it is, yay, amazing. 5 points to you. But do what feels right to you and just be consistent with it is what I say. Because anything in this spirituality playing field, it's all intention. So do what feels right to you. I will not judge you unless you throw them on the floor. Then I was like, ooh. But again, that's what you want to do. It's all you. So again, I drop chunks 3 times. And then I call it a day and say, okay, this is my no. This is my grow. That's my let go. You've been doing this a while. Universe is pretty connected. And I always say a lot of times that my cards are pretty much on fire, meaning they are very, very accurate. So if I do a reading and someone says it doesn't resonate, I kind of don't believe them because they're usually pretty much on point. Oh, I do like this song. So my no card, I got the Hierophant, which is one of those catwalks emails from the universe. And it's very funny because this Hierophant is a teacher. So I'm teaching right now. So as I was a little nervous of like, I've never done this before. I don't know if I'll be good at this metaphysical musings thing. Saying you're a teacher. You know what to do. And you're teaching people about the amazingness of tarot. Then my grow card is the 9 of Cups. This bad boy was reversed. The 9 of Cups is like a wish card. So it being reversed doesn't mean I don't get my wish. It's just knowing that I don't need all the things to have what I want. I don't have to have the lucky rabbit's foot. I don't have to have superstitions, that I can still manifest things that I want. Does that make sense? Or otherwise this one's like, your wish is your command, manifest, and the universe is just handing out gifts left and right. It's kind of like Oprah, you get a car, you get a car, you get a card. And this one's like, you don't need Oprah. You can just do what you want to do. And then my let go card, and I giggled because it is the 4 of Pentacles. The 4 of Pentacles, 4s are all about stability. And this card is, don't hold on too tight. You are not missing anything and you're not going to be out on your luck. So have fun. Get the extra ranch dressing. Get the sundae. Order the appetizer. Have fun. Buy the shoes. It doesn't mean buy all of the shoes, but buy a new pair of shoes. Treat yourself. Otherwise, you're just going to start feeling pretty resentful. Then I also, this is another reason why I call myself not your average tarot reader, because I've coined this myself. It's not patented yet, but we're coined. that if you saw, I dealt from the top of the deck. I call this card the back of the DVD, and it's the bottom card on the deck after I shuffled and dealt. And this one is like when you go into Blockbuster or Hollywood Video and you're like, what's this movie about? And you look on the back, you're going to get the overall summary or Cliff Notes version of what's happening. That's what this card is. It's going to give you an overall summary, because sometimes you'll get a spread and you're like, you're so in your head, you're like, I don't understand what this is. So then you see this, you're like, oh, I got a 5. So my friend would say, breakdown, terrible. It's not terrible. It's just realizing I don't always have to have the last word. I don't always have to prove that I'm right, because then someone's not going to feel good. So sometimes it's trying to decide, where are you going to stop and where you need to keep going? Is this the hill that you want to die on? You're like, okay. And so I have this deck here, which is my Muse deck. That one has an olive branch in it. So I interpret it like, if you're still stuck on something you said to someone or someone said to yourself, or you're just stuck in your head, give yourself an olive branch and move on. Check that baggage and move on. So giving yourself grace. So that's kind of the fun thing. Jesse, did you want to say what you got for yours?
Sure. I got is King of Candles,
Ooh, okay.
which is just mastery and bringing people together and doing the things.
What is the candles in yours? Are they represent?
Wands.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then to know is the King of Presents.
Is that Pentacles? Or is that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Everlasting and
King of
fat.
Pentacles.
King of
Ah! See, there we go. Muppets coming out. That's exciting.
Let go. I got the Knight of Potions, which is cups,
Okay.
which that's to let go. So that makes sense. And it's reversed.
Even better.
Yes.
Even better. And that's the fun thing. Like, you'll have a card, like the Sun card is like one of my favorite cards. Or the Wheel of Fortune, that's supposed to be like the most like lucky card. And if you got that and it's reversed, it doesn't mean that you're down on your luck. It doesn't mean, oh, sorry, wah, wah, sad trombone. It just has a slightly different meaning to it. So like the wheel reversed would definitely mean you don't need to focus on the outside. You need to just focus on within, if that makes sense. And so and the nice thing is, because I can tell Erica's like, these are a lot of things to remember, but I'm just really, really nervous. We never in our class expect perfection. I mean, there's times where I'm looking at it, I'm like, I bring this book, I'm like, hold on. I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what that means. So that's another reason of saying that you will never know all of the answers for tarot. And it's your intention how you interpret them. So which is really kind of fun. Another disnomer or disclaimer thing that I'm going to just put down. There is a thing out there that you need to be gifted a tarot deck. If I would need to be gifted a tarot deck, I'd still be waiting. No one would give me a tarot deck. So gift yourself a tarot deck. There is no rules that you can't buy your own tarot deck. That's silly. I don't know who made up that claim, but it's very, very silly. And find a deck that fits you, that feels good. It's kind of like shopping for rocks and crystals. We're always like going to one and we're like, ooh, what is this? Then you look at the meaning, you're like, oh, yes, I do need some sodalite. I do need to speak my truth. Yes, I do. And so like, I loved the show Schitt's Creek. And so I saw that and I could look at the different pictures. I'm like, ooh, yeah, this one's good for me. Or like my friend Jessie just found a tarot deck. She's like, I'm going to use this. And she's like, oh, this isn't for me. I don't really like this. So then she found a different tarot deck that fits better. So, so it's kind of like tarot decks aren't a one size fits only. They're set up with the structure, but you got to find the one that kind of sings to your soul a little bit. Ooh, another fun thing. Sorry, I'm finding all these fun things I didn't even write down. We're just ad-libbing here. So when you first get a tarot deck, or if someone's like, oh, this was my grandma's, I'd like to give it to you because you love tarot, or whatever it is, it's great to cleanse your deck, clear it, especially if it was somebody else's. So there's different ways that you can do that. I used to, every single time I would do a tarot reading for myself or whoever, I would clear it, and you can use fire, as in like smudging. So if you want to use sage, if you want to use Palo Santo, you just, same thing if you were for yourself, that's what you do for your cards. Again, it's a lot of intention. You can do it with a pendulum. So that's kind of fun, where you'd stick your cards down here. And if I had a pendulum, that would have been brilliant. But for me anyways, it will start spinning one way, and then we'll stop and it will spin the other way to clear out your cards. You can also pick out your cards with a pendulum. That's kind of fun. We might have to do that in class. Thanks for reminding me. Or another one, if you're shuffling and cards are flying and that's not your intention, you're getting all that extra energy out there. There's some people too that and again, you see, I do it in threes. Three's my thing. Sorry. There we go. Feel like Sheldon. But then there's other ones that they do shuffling or before they knock on their cards. Same thing, to clear the cards, to get other energy, especially if I do not to pick on you, Jesse, but if I do a reading for Jesse, I will clear the cards, and then I'm going to do one for Erica. I will clear them. Also, to have someone else touch your cards, that's not taboo either. So if I'm doing a reading for someone, I want them to touch my cards. That's my personal opinion and my intention. I want their energy in the cards, because that's going to give me a much more accurate reading. Not everyone does that. I do. It's kind of like when you see a helper animal in the store, you just go running over to pet the cute dog. You have to ask them. So if someone's doing tarot, you're like, oh, check out this card, because some people, they're real fancy and don't want you to touch their cards. So you're like, can I look at that card, please? And then you can check it out. So it's kind of, I love doing that just to see the differences between cards. So, any other questions?
So you mix them all together, sort of them.
Yeah, is that? Yeah.
So the major and the minor is together. Just
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure.
Yeah. And the same thing, it's your intention. There are people, like at our last tarot class, someone says that after they do a reading, they put them all upright, because then when they shuffle them, they know what's happening. I'm like, I've never done that, so I don't need to do that. But if you feel called to do that, more power to you.
That was another question.
Yeah, I've never heard that, like when I was learning and doing all my tarot, and my tarot teacher has been, that I learned from, he had been doing tarot for over 30 years, and he had never said, put your cards the right way. So again, it's whatever you feel called to do. There's something else that had popped in, popped right out. It's like, burp, burp.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Also, about your journey.
Yeah.
When you say guides.
Mhm.
I think you recognize one person said, Sue, is that just someone that you knew about? Is it who are your guides? Like, how do you know who your guides are? Like, how do you name them? Like, just curious about how that
There's a whole thing where you can find out your guides.
Okay.
But when I go in, I just say, hey guides, hey archangels. I just invite in who for my better good. And I asked my great aunt Gertrude, because she's like my buddy. And she always pops in all over the place, and she's you would have loved her. She's amazing. So you can, whoever you want. There's other people that I know, they're just like, hey, whoever. So whoever you're more called to do. There's another person that she calls in Jesus, and she calls in Saint Michael, and I think that's it. And she's like, or you can just say source or universe. It's yours. There's a joke too of like, I used to very legitimately like sit, and it's great when you're beginning. It's kind of like when you first start driving a car. This is my great example, where you get in the car and you're like, seat, mirror, adjust, like all the things. But when you're more comfortable, Right now, you've been driving for 10 years or more, you just hop in the car, you're like, yep, great, gas, perfect, here we go. Because you just know everybody's there. Same thing with the tarot reading. When I would start doing tarot, I'm like, okay, guides, goddesses, angel, Aunt Gertrude, help me, blah, blah, blah. And so it'd take a little while for me to connect. I've been doing it so long that I'm like, hey guys, let's go. So it's very not really automatic, but it's just very fast, I guess, or
Well, you
comes
got comfort
natural.
now.
Yeah. There's a it's not like I like have Dorito dust. I'm like, all right, I can do this. There may be times that I am snacking while I'm doing tarot because I just have questions, but it's kind of whatever you feel called to do.
Mhm.
And there's some people that don't even do anything. That's fine. You can just like, all right, I just need answers. Because they don't need their guides or whatnot. But some people don't want to call. That's fine. Yeah. Yes. Any other questions that you have? I do love tarot. I have 2 classes. So I have this Friday, the 10th, as I showed you our fun little stuff. And then I have another one on the 24th, question mark. It's the next 2 Fridays. So it's every other Friday this month. And then we're going to do in September, or not September. Oh my gosh. I am like hopping all over the place. Oh man, I need more Dr. Pepper. In February, thank you. In February, we'll probably have a minor arcana class where we will just focus on the minor arcana. So that would be like the playing cards, the 4 suits. That way we can learn more about this is what the swords mean, and then go individually from ace to king and go over that. I did in December, question mark, a major arcana, because there's a lot of cards and it's a lot of information. And to do all of it at once is quite overwhelming as a new person and just anybody. So we don't want to just throw the whole deck at you. So those classes are coming. Yeah. And if you want to do a reading, I'm available for those as well, which is super, super fun. Like I just did one, and so I gotta check my calendar, do it again for like a year ahead reading. So you can kind of see the energy for this 2025, what the universe has in store for you. So, yeah,
So you're doing Fridays on numerology?
this Friday at 10, on the 10th, yes, we will be doing No Grow Go. The January full wolf moon, what that means. The 111 portal of the nodes switching, the astrological nodes. And then we got numerology. So we're just going, talking about the minor arcanas, numerology 1 through 10. And then there's another one about finding out your birth card, which is kind of exciting. So
And it's funny is when you're talking about 111, like, oh yeah, that's my brother's birthday. 111/63. I'm like, I do want to kind of know like the birth year, like the significant.
Mhm.
Chart people do. like,
Oh, sure, yeah.
astrology world, like,
Yep.
will chart out.
Yep.
Like for you.
Yeah.
Once you have your term of birth, you can go to, because I just got my son excited. What it's for fairly recent. So I just went to it's like an astrology site. I'll send it to her so she can send it to. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where you get the free?
There's an astro.com or
Yeah.
astrolab.com.
It's one or the other, and then they send you the whole chart and it doesn't cost me.
Oh, okay. Another
And
thing
then
that Cyndy does is human design, which is like astrology on crack, but she does human
Yeah,
design.
human design
readings as
has
well.
like 7 different things. It's like astrology, I Ching, some other different stuff that pulled it
So you
together.
can take like the natal chart and then combine them into.
It's kind of like a personalized blueprint of your
Yes.
personality. Like I love taking all those personality tests, like Myers-Briggs and the anagrams and stuff. The what?
Based on that case, is that what you would determine?
Yes, absolutely. That is one of them. Yeah. Like, oh, okay. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. Just kind of learn some of that stuff too. Yeah. There's all sorts of fun things that you can do to, yeah. it's
Well,
very
and you can make an appointment with her to do a reading of all of those things.
She also does sound healing.
Sound healing, Akashic.
Akashic
Yeah.
records.
Passion records, you should ever do that too.
Yeah.
You can find out who your
Guides are.
guides are.
Yeah, there's, I wonder, there is, okay, so we'll add that to the next tarot class. I know I have a spread of interviewing your guides. And what your guides are here to do, or what they want to tell you, that type of stuff. So that's another amazing point about tarot, is there's so many different spreads that can help you get more information. Yeah, so there's spreads. I like to look for spreads for like the full moon, the new moon, different astrology stuff, but it's also like, what am I missing? Like, is there something that I'm stuck in that I can go forward, or just some really silly ones too. And there's like unlocking your superpower. So I have, yeah, all sorts of fun different spreads. You can learn all sorts of fun stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully this helped and you learned some nuggets of knowledge about tarot. And it's not scary. It's lots of fun. It's very exciting. Yeah, and I'm just really excited to be here doing tarot. So that's really, really fun. So it's definitely helped me a lot. My kids do it too. They get really excited about tarot. So that's kind of fun.
How old are your kids?
I have 4 children. I have a 13, 11, 9, and 3. Yep. Actually, me doing tarot helped my son to crawl, because he's like, ooh, cards. He was really excited. He's like, ooh, what is this? And I'm like, yeah, hey, buddy. Yeah, he's like, yeah, 3 of this. That's great. So yeah, it's like I said, it's not scary at all. So it's definitely very, very helpful. Exciting to check out. So yeah.
Well, thank
Cool.
you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you guys, and ladies, sorry. I used to waitress, and there was you couldn't say guys. It was ladies and gentlemen or friends. Thank you, friends, for coming. I appreciate it. Yes. Enjoy the world of tarot.